Welcome back to Maritime Pakistan. Look out at any ocean today and you'll see massive merchant vessels carrying the weight of global trade. But keeping these ships and their crews safe against the sheer force of the sea requires a universal standard. That standard is the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, better known as SOLAS 1974. The ocean doesn't care what flag a ship flies, a fact made tragically clear in 1912. The sinking of the Titanic proved that relying on individual national safety standards was a fatal flaw, pushing the international community to draft the very first version of SOLAS in 1914. For decades, updates were slow and reactive, with revisions in 1929, 1948, and 1960. Then, the 1974 convention introduced a brilliant legal concept called tacit acceptance. Instead of waiting for every single country to actively ratify a new rule, an amendment automatically becomes law on a specific date unless a majority of nations explicitly object to it. By flipping the default from waiting for approval to automatic adoption, tacit acceptance turned a static historical treaty into a living, proactive rulebook capable of anticipating modern maritime threats. To understand how the current 14 chapters of SOLAS actually protect a vessel, we can map these rules directly onto the anatomy of a modern merchant ship. The foundation of this system starts before the ship even leaves port. Chapter 1 establishes the baseline rules for surveys and inspections, giving port states the authority to check that a vessel's physical exterior and documentation are fully compliant. Moving inside, Chapter 2-1 dictates the engineering math for subdivision and stability. A ship's hull must be divided into specific watertight compartments. If the hull is breached, these isolated zones prevent the flooding from spreading, keeping the vessel afloat. For certain vessels, the geometry needs to be even stronger. Take massive bulk carriers like this one, measuring over 150 meters in length. Chapter 12 outlines highly specialized structural requirements just to handle the immense shifting weight of the raw materials they transport. Before we even look at advanced alarms or safety protocols, a ship's fundamental physical geometry acts as its first and most vital line of defense against the ocean. Moving up into the corridors and accommodation spaces, the threat shifts from water to fire. Chapter 2.2 mandates strict thermal boundaries, dividing the ship into designated vertical and horizontal zones to contain a blaze precisely where it starts. If those boundaries fail, the crew needs an immediate way out. Chapter 3 strictly governs life-saving appliances, dictating the exact mechanics, capacity, and ready placement of these bright orange lifeboats and survival gear. Once off the ship, finding the crew is the priority. Up on the bridge, Chapter 4 mandates the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System. This ensures satellite beacons and transponders automatically broadcast the ship's exact location to rescue coordination centers. Also on the bridge, Chapter V regulates navigation safety. It requires automatic AIS tracking and voyage data recorders, while preserving the ancient universal obligation of any master to proceed to the rescue of those in distress. These upper deck systems guarantee that even when the physical structure of the hull gives way, the crew still has the tools to escape, communicate, and be recovered. Deep inside the cargo holds, a ship faces a completely different kind of threat. Often, the volatile materials packed tight inside the hull can be just as dangerous as the harsh weather outside. Chapters 6 and 7 regulate this internal environment. They dictate how to stow shifting cargo like grain and establish strict protocols for isolating highly dangerous chemicals. You can see the result in the massive, specialized spherical containment tanks on gas carriers, designed specifically to isolate liquefied gases. SOLAS even accounts for highly unconventional power sources. Chapter 8 provides a comprehensive code outlining the extreme radiation hazard rules required for the rare class of nuclear-powered merchant ships, like the historic Savannah. Through strict chemical categorization and heavily engineered containment, these regulations turn floating stockpiles of hazardous energy into perfectly safe, routine commercial assets. But perfect hardware still relies on the humans operating it. Chapter 9 establishes safety management systems to govern crew protocols, while Chapter 11 deploys the ISPS code to protect those crews against external security threats like terrorism and piracy. As trade routes expand, the rules adapt to extreme geography. Chapter 14 makes the Polar Code mandatory, setting strict survival and environmental standards for any ship operating in the dense, freezing ice fields of the Arctic and Antarctic. And the treaty is still expanding. The newest edition, Chapter 15, addresses the modern energy sector. It creates specific safety measures for the complex transfer of industrial personnel working on offshore wind platforms and ocean mining sites. Engineering can only go so far. It takes highly trained humans, secure operational protocols, and specialized rules to navigate the planet's most unforgiving environments. Zooming out from the individual vessel, SOLAS works because of global enforcement. Strict flag state and port state inspections ensure this baseline of survival applies equally everywhere, regardless of where a ship was built or where it chooses to dock. At the center of this global network is the headquarters of the International Maritime Organization in London. Their continuous work maintains this document, actively amending the codes to outpace new maritime challenges as they emerge. Because the 1974 convention was designed to aggressively adapt rather than sit still, the tragedies of the past no longer dictate the future of global seafaring. If you found this breakdown helpful, let us know by liking the video. What maritime regulation or ship system should we explore next? Leave your questions in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next episode of Maritime Pakistan.